Welcome to the first ever Symposium, everybody, here in beautiful Marquee Night and Day Club in the Cosmopolitan in downtown Las Vegas on the Strip, brought to you for the first time ever by If You CK Wines. Subtlety and truth in advertising there. They have a sister beverage called See You Next Tuesday Malt Liquor, so it's pretty classy outfit. No, we're very glad that they came on board and decided to sponsor us. So If You CK Wine is great and you should drink it. Also brought to you by Inked Magazine, so got some pretty good sponsors here tonight. I am your host, Daniel Lober, representing the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth. That's what the bracelets represent. They're a great organization. They support the homeless youth in Nevada, which there are a lot, and they're a great organization. So if you're in or around Las Vegas, make sure and check them out. They are really good people doing really good work. For this first ever symposium on tattoo culture in Las Vegas versus the rest of the world, and etc., we have a pretty accomplished, experienced tattoo-related panel. We've got Mr. Kirk Matanani, who is a executive at a local production company, and more importantly, number 19, forward for the Las Vegas Unicorns,
there you go,
which is the premier hockey team in Las Vegas.
Minor,
but premier minor hockey
Correct.
team. Plays by our director Tommy Natali, so I was threatened with violence if I didn't include that plug, so there you go, Tommy. Mr. Corey Nyman of the Nyman Hospitality Consulting Firm and Labor Wines. So multi-hyphenate, got a lot of jobs, but not as many jobs as our next panelist, DJ Miss Joy. She's a Stanton DJ on loan to us for the evening from Gibson Pro Audio, and she also DJs here at the Cosmopolitan and has like 47 other jobs?
48.
48 other jobs. So she's basically a one-woman Jamaican Airlines, for those people who remember the In Living Color sketch, and I've dated myself, so anybody under the age of 30 is basically not going to get that reference, but it was a great reference, so fuck all you guys. And last but not least, Mr. Austin Spencer of one of the premier tattoo shops in town, Studio 21. You guys just celebrated 10 years, I believe, right?
We did.
Because my company shot that video, so hey, look at that. Cheap plugs are good.
Small
one of the best tattooers in town and a great guy, and we're happy to have you here. So thanks for coming on down. Thank all you guys for coming down to the first ever symposium at Marquee. That's where you cheer. Even though I specifically told them not to cheer in the pre-production meeting, so mixed messages, but what are you gonna do? So, yeah, first item on the agenda is, well, Las Vegas is the #2 most tattooed city in America, according to a recent study. But #1 was Miami, so fuck that. We're cooler than Miami. We're the #1 most tattooed city in America, according to a recent study that I just made up. Which is kind of interesting because Las Vegas is a really transient town. People move in, people move out. But apparently everybody that moves in and out also has tattoos. So a couple of you guys have been here a long time, work in the industry, et cetera. I wanted to get your take on that. Why, if it's such a, people don't generally stay here for very long. Austin, I know you're born and raised. Why is ink so prevalent here?
Why? Oh goodness, I don't have a clue. It just seems to work out that way. Why? I have no clue why it would be so popular.
Good answer.
West Coast? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just a lot of sun, a lot of skin showing, a lot of people wanting to show off and pursue changing our town is extremely known for changing the way you look.
True.
Isn't that every thing to do though? Is to get drunk in Vegas and get a tattoo.
This is true. Get drunk off of If You CK Wines,
yeah,
which you totally should because it's awesome, and a sponsor of the show. Corey, you obviously got a hospitality consulting firm and a wine company as well. People generally make good decisions when they're under the influence of, say, wine.
Always.
And
always.
A lot of those good decisions involve really tasteful tattoos in great places.
Right.
Is there a correlation there between Las Vegas being a party town and having a lot of tattoos as opposed to other places in the country?
I think it depends. I mean, in the hospitality business, there's such a correlation of people getting tattoos, especially chefs, putting cuts of meat on them or different, sleeves full of just tomatoes and different things. And so I think that also, because sometimes the hospitality culture can be a little more buttoned up, where you're wearing a buttoned up shirt and a tie and a suit, and sometimes the nightlife culture, you can show a little more skin. You kind of want to, sometimes you want a tattoo in the right place you can show off, and other times you want things put away. They can kind of keep them hidden, and so you're showing them off when you're at the pool or when you're with friends, things like that. However, we've seen our share of people getting drunk, stupid, and fucked up, and going out and getting, but you guys can tell me how late certain parlors are open.
Yeah.
And who's willing to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's not generally like the most reputable places in town are like, oh, hey, that person just threw up on themselves. I'll absolutely tattoo their face.
Right, exactly.
You generally got to go to like a walk-in street or a walk-in shop with a bunch of crappy flash on the walls.
And needle, right.
Yeah. Now, Kirk, you're more on the executive side of things, and yet you have a bunch of, I believe those are Samoan tribal tattoos?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your perspective on that, working in the corporate side of things, but also having a lot of ink? Is that like more of a Vegas thing, more acceptable here, or?
Well, I would say that it is. Although most of the time I'm wearing a suit, and nobody would know that I have tattoos unless I let them know.
Right.
But I think it's definitely a lot more acceptable nowadays than it ever used to be. I mean, times are changing all the time here, and used to be tattoos were on, prisoners, gangbangers, and sailors,
Exactly.
bikers.
Sailor Jerry.
Yeah.
Shout out to the original.
There you go.
The original tattoo god.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's definitely more acceptable nowadays. Especially, you'll notice that the better that the artwork looks, the more acceptable it is. More people will approach me and talk to me just about my ink in the airport or wherever it might be, because it's very good work.
It's basically the only cool form of tribal tattooing in the world.
I would agree.
Everything else is like, oh, it's a sick tribal, bro. It's like, no, this is actually because it was a tribe of people who,
Right.
it's cultural, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, my tramp stamp is much worse than this.
This big picture of your own face, double
Correct.
thumbs up, finger guns.
First tattoo was actually on my chest. We decided it would be cool if we just did some home tattoo stuff. So we took a needle and some thread, wrapped it around the bottom of the needle, and did it in Indian ink. And it took about 2 hours of a single prick on my chest.
DJ Miss Joy, you are obviously in and around the nightlife quite a bit, which you see a lot of interesting tattoos, tends to be in and around the nightlife. From your perspective, is that again more of a Vegas-based thing, or is that nightlife everywhere that people have the tattoos in there?
For entertainers in general, a lot of people want to stand out, different types of talent. They want to show something that's very authentic to them, that's creative and artistic. So it's a form of individuality that is not just in entertainment, but it's a lot more accepted. Because of our industry, it's allowed to look more like wild, I guess, I would say. And back to what you were saying about the culture of tattoos in Vegas, a lot of people think Vegas is like Sin City, so if there is a negative connotations to having a tattoo, people would more likely do it here because so many things are more acceptable, like as far as what would you be consider like sin, but there's no such thing as sin.
It's just an excuse, right?
There's no such thing as sin?
It's
Ooh,
true.
The Pope is very upset with you right now. But he's an 85-year-old virgin in a funny hat, so don't take life advice from that kind of person.
Supposedly.
Well, being a DJ here in Las Vegas, it's all about individuality and kind of standing out. It's definitely about talent as well. But 2 years ago, I went to Laos for the first time, where my family is from, and I was offered to teach DJing to kids at a nonprofit for at-risk youth. And one of the criteria that was asked for me was to remove my tattoos. And at first I didn't understand, but the more I started settling into the culture, I realized that it's not about individuality, which Americans, we take so much pride in, which is such a beautiful thing. But Laotian people, they ask you, like, what have you done for your parents? What have you done for your country? And those are things that I gravitate more towards. So I've been removing my tattoos since July of last year.
Yeah, because some of the tattoo differences that I've noticed living here, like all the tattoos that I have that I'm going to get done, for me, it's all personal to me. It has, personal meaning, and that's how I prefer my permanent body art to be. Whereas a lot of the people I've met here, my buddy valeted at one of the hotels for quite a while, and he just was discovered the most stupid, I considered the stupid tattoos. He had like a Coke label because one day he was thirsty and he really wanted some Coke, and so he got a Coke, and then he got a tattoo to remind him that that was his favorite beverage. He did a lot of drugs too, to be fair.
On a daily basis, pretty much someone in the shop's doing a cover-up. It kind of comes along with tattooing in general. Personally, haven't experienced laser tattoo removal. Am I eating the mic right now? I should be eating the mic.
You are.
Okay.
Keep it right there.
But yeah, I would say everyday tattooing has to do with cover-ups. Like everybody's always got something existing from some crazy moment or just bored moment where they went out and got something, and then you have to at some point in time like work that into the newer stuff. Or I think this thing's shocking my lip right now.
That means it's working.
And that's about all I got to say.
It's totally fine. Okay.
Well, speaking to Vegas and talking about crazy tattoos and stupidity and all that, there was recently a party that was held right off the strip. It was someone having a 40th birthday. He invited 200 women, and he had a tattoo artist there doing live tattoos. And he was offering $5,000 to get his name on them each time.
That's
serious.
awesome.
And
I would have showed up in a pink wig.
exactly. And so you get his name on you get $5,000 cash out the door.
Did he get to choose the size and the placement?
He got to choose his name. I don't know about the size of the placement.
See, you should have let me know, Corey. I would have been right behind him in a purple wig. We could have made that happen. You're like the
Next
inside of the
time.
pinky toe. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Next
It says Craig. I got $5,000. I don't give a fuck.
Well, that's my brother's name, so it's perfect. So we
Well, because it's a classy name. That's why.
Perfect.
So it would have worked out. Talk about that pocket square first of all.
Do you like that pocket
Amazing.
square?
Hot.
Thank you.
Is that polka dot?
That's
It is
handsome.
polka dot. It's dual-sided too.
I respect that hustle. I'm sorry. Back to the
No, you're
point.
good. You're having fun.
I got
with it.
distracted by the pocket square.
No, Austin and I were talking earlier, and I was over in Israel in July, and Israel is obviously a very interesting dichotomy of a lot of different cultures, predominantly Judaism, but
Right.
tattoo and graffiti culture have taken over the
Really?
country. It's tremendous.
Israel? Wow.
Israel.
Wow.
You go to Tel Aviv and it's all over, and things are just happening there, and you can
awesome.
see it, and it's just either you see a woman in a full sleeve with color and elements and design, or just one specifically placed tattoo. It's really interesting to see in a country like that in that part of the world.
Yeah, because I know like Orthodox Judaism and Hasidic Jews are some of the most culturally restricted people there are. Not to cast any judgment on right or wrong. It's you do what you believe as long as it doesn't infringe somebody else's rights. But the fact that the birthplace of that culture would then be taken over by something that kind of Western and not progressive is not the right word, but like subversive.
So with Vegas, and I've had the pleasure of living here since 1995 on and off, there is no permanency in Las Vegas. Everything changes. And no matter how much is old is new and how much is new is old. And so things get recycled, things get moved, and things get changed. But that's the beauty of Vegas. However, when you're dealing with tattoo culture and life, things are permanent. People live, people die. People get ink on themselves, people get it removed, but usually it's pretty damn permanent. And Vegas is the ultimate enigma of all that.
No, Kirk, we were talking a little bit between the break. I think that's really fascinating that we're all one people, one species, one race, basically, of animal. And yet, on opposite sides of the globe, you have, your ethnic culture prizes tattooing as the ultimate expression of the collective. You're expressing like what group you belong to, what tribe you're part of, your rank within that tribe and that clan. And then, in Laos and Japan and a few other places, you have the exact opposite of that, where it is forbidden, basically. Can you talk about a little bit about why it is so valued in the Samoan culture and Polynesian, Micronesian? Like, it's a whole bunch of those peoples that get those tattoos.
I don't know. In all actuality, I mean, people are still doing it today. They're tattooing things that are representative of their culture, whether white, black, Samoan, whatever it is. Everyone wants to belong to something,
Right.
and it's kind of I think it's what pulls people together. If we all went out and got a tattoo together tonight, which apparently we can just walk in and
Which is happening. Studio 21 is going to open just for us,
yeah,
right?
we're gonna do that.
Excellent.
It makes you feel a part of something. Not only is it what is the word I'm looking for?
Self-fulfilling?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, close enough. Anyways, not only is it that, but it still makes you feel a part of something, because most people go out and they get tattoos of things that mean something to them, and then it brings people together who have similar likes, similar thoughts, similar mindsets. So
There's a certain beauty about that, though. Like,
There is.
I
Personal
respect
experience
everybody
often?
that has all their deep meanings and everything, but I'm not gonna lie, there's not a damn thing on my body that has any meaning. I drink beer, you go out, and you have a good time, you have memories and fun things, and as like a young kid, you just want like a cool fucking colorful piece on your arm so you can show off or whatever. But that I kind of get. I listen to everybody's great stories and everything, but I think that there's a huge amount of people out there that just like to get fucking tattooed because it looks cool, you know? And I've got an endless amount of artists that I would love to go get tattooed by, and I could just tell them anything in the world, like, just whatever, dude, just tattoo me. I just love your artwork. I want you to just do say fucking a skull or something, you know? And then next thing you know, you have your whole entire arm done up and some crazy skull or whatever.
Or a butterfly. Doesn't have to be a skull.
I went to Germany to get tattooed by one guy specifically. This is like back in the MySpace days. We met him on MySpace. Fucking flew to Germany to get tattooed by this guy. Had an appointment and everything. Get there and the dude says, "Well, I would like to talk to you first before I possibly tattoo you."
How do you feel about white power? I mean, you are in Germany.
I just flew here from a long ways away. And you're like, "What do you mean? You want to have lunch with me and interview me?" It's a total different experience, and I sat there and I went to him. I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, like a skull or something, whatever you want." I left with a bird and this long story about how the bird was looking up to me, and it was my mother's soul and all this stuff, all over soup, and like a week of spending time with this weird dude in Germany.
So he basically flunked out of psychologist school, became a tattooer, and was like, "I'm going to read your feelings and tattoo that on you."
I just think there's a certain beauty about just getting fucking tattooed because you want to get tattooed and you like this person's artwork, and you don't really give two shits about like the history or the story behind it and blah, blah, blah.
That's true.
You know?
One of my best friends.
No disrespect to that, but I don't know if it's like some suburban white kid shit. Like I just want colorful shit. Like I love tattoos. I love drawing. You know, I don't know. I have zero thought into anything, which I don't want to say regrets, but I have some stupid shit on my body. This is very stupid. Then my dad specifically, he's like here tonight, he was like, "What the fuck is that? Really? Like you're gonna walk around with the rest of your life with that shit on your body?"
You're like, "Yeah, Dad, fuck
But then
you."
there's a certain, it's just awesome.
Well,
I feel like women, though, unfortunately, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's easier for guys to get away with shitty tattoos than women. I feel bad for the women that were, like you said, you know, you're 14 and you thought you were onto something. You're like, "Yeah, I want to get this on me. This is awesome" at this point in time. And then,
unfortunately, I don't really get to know too much about the people with the smaller the tattoo. But the cool thing about the longer sessions and the larger projects, and you get to build up these relationships with people, is pretty awesome. You get to know about their lives and their families and where they came from and how they ended up in your chair is pretty exciting. It makes you feel pretty awesome.
All right, so Austin, you've been tattooing for a good long time, like what, 10 years now, 12 years?
13-ish.
13-ish years, wow. So you must have been asked to do some fucking awful ideas for tattoos over the years.
Your opinion of awful.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm a big fan of...
Dicks on the back isn't, I mean...
A pinwheel of donkey dicks is kind of like, I was going to talk to you about maybe getting that done later.
I'd say that's the best day. It's a beautiful Tuesday when you get to walk in and you just get to do a pinwheel of dicks on someone's back.
That is a magical moment.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, what is some of the horrible
stuff? I
stuff?
just draw boners all day.
You know, you do it even if you weren't getting paid to. So, what is some of the horrible shit you've seen over the years?
Yeah. Awkward.
I'm kind of into it. I'm not gonna lie. So, you know, it's only awkward for you.
Boner.
You're just surrounded by boners right now. So, sorry. Turns out DJ Miss Joy is not gonna spin afterwards. She's gonna be running crying from the room. But anyway, what's some of the horrible shit you've seen over the years?
Oh man, this one day stands out to me where I came in and we were super busy one day, so I was off, and I came in to take care of a bunch of people in the lobby. This like cougar type lady it's always seemed to be like fresh out of a divorce. They're ready to get tattooed, and she wanted a tattoo on her upper back, and she just. I mentioned to her that she maybe needed to lift her shirt, like totally professionally and everything, from the rear. And she just took her whole damn shirt off. And that was awesome. And I turned around like a shy little boy. I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know what to do." And I was like, "That's not necessary."
This was last week.
Yeah. So
13 years
I did that tattoo, and then the following tattoo was this 60 to 70, 80-ish year old lady that wanted a tattoo on her bikini line, and I had to get in there and do work and chop shit down and bring, you know, it's just, so days can be good and they can be really good, and then they can be really freaking terrible, and next thing you know,
so that was a really good day, just to be clear.
Started good and
old
then
lady
shot
pubes.
Down to the old pubes.
Old lady pubes
old
are
section.
a great Tuesday.
Not cool, bro. And then, so yeah.
Was that her
some
tattoo?
days
She
you
got,
gotta do like.
she got "not cool, bro" tattooed on her
Yeah,
bikini line.
I don't even know what the fuck she got. Something stupid, but.
He just blanked it
sorry.
out.
But let's see. I had this weird lady come in one day and ask me if I wanted to tattoo some "you know what's" on her back, and I was like, honestly, no. I don't know what "you know what's." What that is? I don't know what.
I don't know
the hell
what.
you're talking about.
Sorry.
She's like, you know. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like arguing with her for a second. She's like, I was like, I don't know, like vaginas or something. What are you talking about? No, like you know, like fucking dicks. You want dicks all over your back? She's like, yeah. Like, really? It's like, this is the best day ever. So I went in the back and I drew up a bunch of dicks, and she wanted like flower bouquets with dicks coming out of them.
What is this
My
lady's,
mom's here too. She witnessed it. She was there. Yeah.
What is this lady's contact information?
I don't know. She showed up to our parties like 8 years later and was like, "You want to see my back? Remember you did this?" And she bent over and I didn't recognize her, and she bent over and I just see dicks everywhere. I was like, "Yes!"
In the hospitality business, in restaurants, in clubs, in bars, you see everything. You see everything from a knife and a fork on someone's thigh to a barcode on the back of their neck.
How are you seeing their thighs at the restaurant?
We live in Las Vegas.
Exactly.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Not
You see
everyone wears
everything
clothes
but
at work.
Exactly.
sometimes
So,
you see like basically everything except labia. Like everything else
Pretty-
is just
pretty
out
much,
there.
yeah.
you know?
And so you have-
But if I wear the outfit, it's inappropriate. I think that's sexism. I don't appreciate that. What about my labia? Anyway, so other stuff in the hospital?
different conversation for later.
True.
But right. No, it's people will put stupid shit on them all the time, but at the same time, they took some thought process, we hope, to put it on there, and most of them think it means something to them. And I talked earlier, there was one of my chefs had a full sleeve of tomatoes. It was all different kinds of heirloom tomatoes because that's what was important to him. And other people, literally some guy had a knife and fork, it's about this big, right on his forearm, because that's what he wanted to do. And so then, if you go back later and say, well, I really wanted to have underdog tattooed on my ass.
So Austin will do that for you.
I've heard.
Austin will not do that for you, apparently.
No, but
No?
but going back to it, you're putting something on your body that you hope means something, and it's going to be there. And whether it's a good or bad part of your life, it's there. It's not going anywhere unless it's really painful. And so that's part of the tattoo culture and the awareness of, I'm putting something on my body. If we actually all, like we were talking before, if we all actually took a minute to think before we got tattoos longer, or at least trusted our artist, or said, hey, I'm going to sign this form and I'll be back in a couple weeks, versus going for a doctor appointment because we know we have to do that, it's like, well, we'd probably be a lot less stupid tattoos in the world.
True, yeah, you don't get the grocery list done on you. But it can be scary depending on what people hold dear to themselves. Depending on what they value, you can end up with some scary tattoos. My buddy, who's a pro fighter, I mentioned this off air earlier, has "fuck y'all" tattooed across his knuckles. And that's the tattoo he's most proud of. We were talking one day about tattoos. I was like, hey man, what's your favorite tattoo? He just held up his hands. He's like, "Fuck y'all." I was like, really? That's your favorite? He's like, yeah, that's how I feel about everyone. And I was like me included? He's like, no, we're cool now. Awesome. Okay, I'll make sure never to say anything to piss you off. So, it's but that's good to know too. He's an intimidating looking dude. He's a pro fighter, so he doesn't look like somebody you should fuck with. But it can be kind of like how like brightly colored neon lizards in nature, like other predators know don't eat that shit because it's poisonous. Maybe if you just have "fuck y'all" tattooed across your knuckles, people know. Maybe that's not the person to talk shit to, or spill their drink, or no. You're gonna go for it.
You gotta watch for the creeper, man, the quiet guy.
Uh,
That's the one that's coming strong.
The one with all the dick tattoos.
Yeah.
Or the one who wants to show you his dick tattoo. He's like, hey man, check it out. No.
Anybody that feels the need to, never mind. Say "fuck y'all."
I was kind of intimidated by it, so
You can
Or
beat me
the
up,
ones
I'm sure,
that
but-
don't have their tattoos exposed in public and are covered up the whole time.
like the old Yakuza style.
Exactly.
Yeah, where you just that's
boss.
bad news. So, any closing thoughts from anybody? Takeaways on tattoo culture, Vegas?
I got a lot of ink, but I would never get a dick tattoo.
Not for $5,000? Little small one?
Nope.
I'll
about
take
a-
one right now for $5,000.
What about a dick tattoo on your dick?
anywhere on me.
Dick tattoo on your dick?
Never.
No?
No. I
Any
once
amount of
thought about
money?
getting a Prince Albert, but I was really drunk.
So you'll get a needle shoved through
No,
your
I
penis,
thought about it.
and then you did it.
Well, we looked around for a place that would do it, and we couldn't find it. We were shit-faced completely, but yeah, luckily that didn't work out.
They just got halfway through and changed their mind?
No, we just couldn't find a place to do it.
Wow. All right.
So convenience.
All right, ladies.
Yeah.
He almost got a Prince Albert and didn't. Kirk
Yeah.
and Corey and
Right.
DJ Miss Joy and Austin. Give it up for the panel, everybody.